Hey everybody. So in this video, I'm going to go over what you need to do to complete this week's assignment, the outline for your final exam. First, if you have not gone over the material in the week 9 and week 10 modules, you really need to do so, especially week 10. The lessons specifically cater to what you need to do for your final exam essay. And it is the final exam. You're taking it in the last week of the course, which is a short week to begin with. It needs to be submitted by Wednesday, Thursday night at the latest. Thursday night is when the course closes. So this is not something where we're going to have time for me to look at what you've submitted and give you feedback for you to do it again. This is kind of a one-shot deal, and it's the final exam. So you want to make sure that you are as well prepared for it as you can possibly be. And the lessons in week 9 and especially week 10 are what will help prepare you for this final. Also, the outline that you're doing in this assignment. So, once you feel like you have a good understanding of what a rhetorical analysis essay is, then you can come back to this assignment and complete your outline. You're going to do it in a Word document. I have attached a Word document to the instructions like I normally do that you can use as your template if you choose, right? But it will be a file submission however you choose to do it. Now, there's a little bit of instructions that you'll see under this video. The first part explains what I just mentioned, and then there's a dotted line. Underneath that dotted line kind of explains what this is all about. So this assignment is an outline for the final exam essay. You are not writing the essay right now. The essay will be done in week 11 as your final assignment, your final exam. This assignment right here is just an outline to help you plan, okay? This essay is a rhetorical analysis essay, which means you are going to be choosing an argument to analyze. The argument that you're going to choose will be one of the discussion images for our weekly discussions. You have 5 to choose from. The 5 that you have to choose from are listed underneath these instructions, but also you can find them in the week 10 module. There's a tab in the week 10 module that says options for final exam. And if you click on that, you'll see the 5 options listed underneath. Each one you click on, you're going to see that image plus my follow-up video from the weekly journals. The first option you have is the phone poster. The more you connect, the less you connect. That one, I believe it was week 2. The next one that you have to choose from is Mom's Demand Action from week 3. That's the one with the 2 children in the classroom, the boys holding the Kinder Egg and the girls holding the rifle. The next one you have to choose from is the Maiden Form ad from week 6. The fourth one you could choose is from week 8, the Girls Say Yes to Boys Who Say No poster. And the fifth one you could choose is the one from week 9, the AIDS prevention poster. So again, you'll choose one of those to do your rhetorical analysis essay on. In the week 10 module, there's a tab that says options for final exam. They're all listed, and each one contains the image and my follow-up video, right? So once you have chosen which image you want to work with, you will complete this outline to help you prepare to write your final exam essay. Remember, a rhetorical analysis essay does not engage with the argument. You will not be talking about your reaction to the image. You will not be talking about your thoughts or opinions or reactions to the image. Nothing like that goes in this essay. This essay is simply looking at how the argument was presented, the elements of argument that are used in the image. That's it. So this is a very objective, sort of very, on the outside looking in. We are not getting into the argument in this essay. This is solely looking at all the elements to show how they come together to form the argument that's being made in the image. Okay? So please remember that. That is probably the biggest reason why students score poorly on this final exam essay. The first reason is because they start responding to the argument. And that's not what this essay is about. We are looking at how it was made. That's it. So, for the outline, the first thing you're going to want to come up with is your thesis statement. So your thesis statement will essentially be what you think the main claim of the image is, and the elements that make it up. So I've already given you the elements, your main points. But your thesis statement will include what you think the main claim is in the argument and the main points you're going to look at. Okay? So, what do you think is the argument, and what elements are you going to analyze? That's your thesis statement. The second thing you're going to look at is your first main point. Your first main point is going to be the evidence, right? So this section of your essay is going to talk about all of the evidence that's used in the image. Each element of the visual part of the image, any words on the image, as well as the appeals that are being used, logos, ethos, and pathos. So that could be a pretty hefty section. If it needs to be more than one paragraph, that's fine, but you might be able to get it all in one paragraph. But so after your introductory paragraph with your thesis statement, the next paragraph is going to be your first main point, and that first main point will look at the evidence. So on your outline here, just list all the elements that you're going to discuss. So what parts of the image are you going to focus on? What words are you going to focus on? What appeals are being made that you're going to discuss? Just list them. Doesn't have to be sentences. This is an outline, right? So just list. Point number 3 is your second main point. This section is going to look at values and assumptions. So this section is going to talk about any values that are expressed in the argument, as well as any assumptions that were made about us, the viewer, right? So remember, values, things like, we value wisdom, we value compassion, we value knowledge, we value money, we value respect, we value freedom, we value democracy, we value curiosity, we value nature, right? So go back to the values and assumptions PowerPoint if you need a refresher on what kinds of common values are expressed in arguments. So what values do you see in the image? List them there in point 3. What assumptions have been made? List them. Again, this is listing. It doesn't have to be sentences. The next section of the outline, point 4, will be your third main point. This is the premises. So remember, the premises are the smaller claims that are being presented that lead to the bigger overall claim, right? If you're unsure of this, make sure that you have watched the follow-up video in week 10 for the practice with rhetorical analysis assignment. because that assignment from week 9 asked you to choose an image and answer some questions about it. One of the questions was about stated and unstated premises, and I go over that in the follow-up video in week 10. But it's basically, like I said, just smaller main points that lead to the overall claim. So, what premises, stated or unstated, would the audience have to accept before accepting the main claim? So, what are the subclaims that are being shown that build to the overall argument? Right? Make a brief list. Right? Again, list. Does not need to be full sentences. Just get your ideas down. And then the last point on the outline is your concluding thought. So leave us with a final thought about the image and the argument that it presented. And then you can just state your final concluding thought on that line. So the only two sections of your outline that require an actual sentence are the first point, where you tell me your thesis statement, and the last point, where you state your concluding thought. Points 2, 3, and 4 could just be lists. Okay? Follow what I've given you here. Right? So make sure that you're reading what each point is supposed to be. Remember, the first point on the outline is your thesis statement. The second point on the outline will be your first main point of your essay. That's where you're going to discuss the evidence, the visual, the words, the appeals. The next point on the outline is your second main point. That second main point is all about the values and assumptions. So list whatever values you see expressed in the argument. List the assumptions that you have come up with. And remember, assumptions is what the creator has assumed about us. The next point on the outline will be for your third main point of the essay, and that will be all about the premises, the smaller subclaims that build to the overall claim. The fifth point is your concluding thought. So, the more effort and thought you put into this outline, the easier the final exam essay will be for you. Because you can come back and use this outline to write your final exam essay. Now, how do you know if what you put on this outline is correct, if you've done it properly, and it would be good to use for the final exam? Well, I'm obviously going to give you feedback on this outline. And here's a very important note. You have to submit this. You have to submit this outline and get my feedback before you can even have access to the final exam essay. Even if you do the week 11 attendance quiz, that final exam essay will not show up for you until you have submitted this outline and received points for it. And you won't receive points for it until it's where it needs to be and I have given you feedback on it. The sooner you get this outline done, obviously, the more time you'll have to work on the final exam. And you can start working on the final exam as soon as you get my feedback on this. It's, you don't have to just wait until week 11 starts, because you can start typing it up and then you can copy and paste it into the final exam spot. And I'm fine with that. You won't be able to access it until week 11 begins and you've gotten my feedback on the outline and taken the week 11 attendance quiz. But once you have my feedback on the outline, you can start working on your essay. Then, once week 11 begins, you take the week 11 attendance quiz. You'll have access to the final exam essay. You can just copy and paste what you have into the exam. And I am okay with that. But you have to do this outline, and you have to get full points on it and get my feedback, or else you will not have access to the final exam. So please do this outline. The sooner the better. And I will be on the lookout for them all week. So hopefully once you submit it, the turnaround time will be quick. You'll get my feedback right away. Do your best on the outline. Use it to your advantage. If you're unsure of how to list any of those items, especially like your first, second, and third main points, the evidence, the values and assumptions, and the premises, if you're unsure of any of that, go back through week 10 and then reach out to me, and I will help explain it as best I can. Okay? So, first thing you need to do, make sure you've gone through the material. Then, choose the image you want to work with. They're listed in the week 10 module. Use the follow-up videos to your advantage as well. Complete the outline. Remember, 2, 3, and 4, just list. Okay? You're not writing the essay yet. You don't need to put all this in complete sentences right now. Okay? Just list your ideas. Submit the outline. Wait for my feedback. Once you have my feedback and you have full points on the outline, you will have access to the final exam once week 11 starts. You can be working on it until then, because you'll be able to copy and paste if you want. If you have any questions, refer to the material first, and then come to me if you still have questions, and I will help you as best I can. Okay? Alright, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck, and I will be on the lookout for these.